Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We started the podcast last year, but due to the Gridiron boys having a couple of babies, or their wives having their babies, and them needing some time off, and the other guys not quite committed to the thing, we decided to just go with the Instagram page and do our postings for the drafts and keep you up throughout the year on fantasy football. We didn't do any cooking on the griddle. Or our gridiron night, like we call it. But we are back this year in full force. Everybody's on board. So starting off today, we're going to be starting our first podcast for 2024 right before the Super Bowl, as we did last year. I'm wearing a Baltimore Ravens jersey, Lamar's. Obviously, my team that he's cheering for didn't get into the Super Bowl, but he did get MVP. Yes. We can go from there for next year. Wearing my Kansas City Champions hat. Shout out to my daughter who is doing med school in KC, and Josh as well, her husband. We're going to be joined by hopefully some of the Gridiron boys. Definitely, I think C-Reg is going to be joining us to talk about against the spread, where we should be putting some of the bets for the Super Bowl. We will be talking about the Super Bowl QBs, Patrick Mahomes returning back for another chance at winning another Super Bowl, and Brock Purdy, San Fran's QB, the underrated Mr. Irrelevant. There's been a lot of talking about that and how he's doing, but I think he's doing great. And with the people that he's got on his team, I think they're going to have it's going to be a great game, or at least we're hoping for a great game. So we're going to get to our show right away. And also we're going to throw in there some point in time, we are going to be cooking on our gridiron, and we're going to be cooking up a Super Bowl special. And that will be our smash burgers with a little bit of Kansas City and San Francisco flair. So let's get to that right away.
Welcome to What's Cooking on the Gridiron with your hosts T and Davis. Join us, along with the Gridiron boys, as we chat about fantasy football and cook up and mix up some of the latest trending food and cocktails.
Thanks for having me on, Doc.
Yeah, no problem. You're the only last of the Gridiron boys available. Shane's out of town in New York, and Marty's busy, and Josh is, I guess, on some beach somewhere.
Well, that's the difference between me and the fellas, man. Priorities.
Yeah. And, you already got us our bets going for everything and anyways there, but I thought we'd get you on and just discuss it a little bit before we put it out there. So what do you got lined up? We're doing FanDuel this time around because we had a little screw up there with our last betting app. And so what are you thinking for this game? I know I have you down for we're looking at KC money line. Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to be the guy that loses betting against Patrick Mahomes. I'm just not going to do it. I've been that guy many times.
Yeah, you just can't
be that guy anymore. And we learned our lesson last year too, though, right?
Yeah,
last year too.
Yeah.
And
for sure, you just can't bet against him.
Yeah, and I think worked out pretty well for us. So let's ride the hot hand. This guy is, he's special, dude, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I think Vegas has still got San Fran favorite, I think. So
every game this year they've been a favorite, but doesn't mean they're going to win them all.
Money for you when you want to bet on KC, that's for sure. Points wise, I seen you got listed as over. I think the spread was at 47.5.
That's what I last saw it at. Yeah, and 47.5. Geez, you could double it and I'm still taking it. Like, there's going to be points. I know KC's D's good. San Fran's always got a good D, but, I think we're going to be in for one of those special Super Bowls. A lot of it's optimism, but I think we're going to be faced with one of those just memorable all-timers this coming Sunday. It's going to be
so
a beautiful
hoping
game.
so, because there's been some sucky ones out there. That's for fuck sure.
Just look at how deep the talent pool is.
CMC himself should be racking up half the points.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, he's good for 3 tutters. So, I mean, there's pretty much half the points we need right there.
Yeah, exactly. And so now I got us down for San Fran leads at half, and then KC wins. And that's where we got some good money. It's plus 800 for that one. So
yeah, and you know, we hit the same one last year too. We had the Eagles leading at half and the Chiefs coming in at the end of the game to play spoiler. And I think we're gonna face the same thing again. I mean, look at the last 2 Super Bowls the Niners had. Well, I shouldn't say the Niners. Kyle Shanahan was in anyway. They were leading by 10 in the fourth quarter, and then both teams ended up coming back and winning. So, you know, I don't know that that's the script this time around. And I don't want to say I'd hate to see the Niners kind of break the spell. It would be a cool storyline, obviously, with the Purdy show that's been going on this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Would make for a hell of a storyline.
I'm pretty happy, and all his fans definitely would be, actually, after he's been cut up all through the media and everything like that. As you know,
you'd really stick it. You just stick it to the Eagles fans too. I mean, a lot of them are bitching and moaning, thinking that, you know, they were going to win the game last year no matter what happened. And of course, Purdy tears his UCL or whatever he did last year, and they end up mollywopping the Niners. So if the Niners come out and they beat the Chiefs now, it's like Philly's going to be crying in their socks tomorrow, man, or on Monday, man, when they're like, fuck, maybe we would have lost that game last year too. And, you know, it's kind of a tainted Super Bowl. But at the end of the day, you win a Super Bowl, you win a Super Bowl. Who really gets it?
For sure. Exactly. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. However you get it done, you get it done. Offense, defense, or whatever it is. And I know, I really believe San Fran's going to come out with some fire and get that lead off the beginning. They don't want to be like the last game where Kittle's on the sideline saying, okay, I think we're going to come back. I think we're going to come back and win this. Right? So I think they're going to come out hot, and then you know what, KC may turn it around and win it in the end, which would be nice. And
you're just never going to be able to count them out, man. Like they're just they're too special, and it's like they've been hurting, you know, in some skill positions this year, but Patrick Mahomes just makes up for so much. I know it's cliche and it's everyone, you know, kind of knows it, but there's a reason these guys are paid 40, 45, 50 plus $1 million a year now, because they make that big of a difference. And Patrick Mahomes is the best one going right now. So I mean, he
making all
makes
the big
up for a lot. He makes up for a lot. So it's going to be good. But I mean, we got so much offense in this game.
You got Purdy down for 3.5 carries. I like that. I like that. He's been. I
think that's a sharp one. I think that's a sharp
one. A lot. He had so many points, or so many yards, like the last game. He was just putting up there. So I think he's going to get some. I think he's going to get the 3.5 carries easily. So
yeah, and you know what? I don't know that they're going to call his number, but there's going to be a handful of times where he's flushed out of the pocket and he just needs to pick up a few yards, get some positive yardage. And you know what? That happens 4 times for sure this game.
Oh yeah.
I got no doubt about that. That's a
maybe even a little tutty for him too, as well, running it in. So who knows, right? So it depends if they get down there, right? So
you know, it never hurts to sprinkle any on the quarterback at the TD, especially a mobile one. Now it's not Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, but
no.
So your money's a little bit safer there.
Yeah. And then we got CMC. We'll keep with the San Frans here. We have the CMC for over 18.5 rushing attempts, and that. So I mean, yards would be nice at 18.5. That would be an easy bet. Vegas wanted to cover us for that, but rushing attempts, I think he's going to be good for that too. So
and I think this has kind of been a theme that everyone's been talking about, and I don't know if it's a trap I'm falling into, but I just don't see any way that San Francisco abandons the running game. I don't see KC pulling away to the point where the Niners have to throw the ball a lot. And the name of the game for them is, you know, I think everyone kind of knows, is keep the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. How do you do that? Maintain possession. How do you do that? Exactly. Run the clock or burn the clock. How do you do that? Keeping the ball in bounds in your guys' hands. Running the ball, you got the best running back in the league. You fucking feed them in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. You know, no better person to put that ball in his hands is, giving it to CMC to cover that, eh? And then we've got Ayuk, right? So for over 63.5 receiving yards.
Purdy's guy. That's his guy.
That's Purdy's man. He's been there for Purdy. So
yeah, and he's awesome. Like, he's an awesome player. Yeah. He makes a lot of, I don't want to say spectacular catches, but he's a smaller guy, so his catch radius is a lot bigger than you would think for a smaller guy. And great hands, speedy. They look to get on the ball. Purdy looks to get on the ball. So, if he's going to get, I mean, you got to figure he's getting 8, 9, 10 targets. So a couple of those down the field, 60 yards is going to be nothing for him. So,
and even off somebody's helmet, he's good at catching those, right? So,
exactly.
That was a crazy catch, and I almost thought he was in the end zone when he caught that. But then when they reviewed it, that he got touched after he rolled the ball off of the guy's helmet, right? So, yeah,
we'll have to get somebody a little plugged into the scene there to let us know if a ladybug lands on his shoes again or whatever that shit was that he was saying last week. Is why I felt so good.
Up for that. So yeah. Now we're into KC. Now Kelsey, we have him for over 72.5 receiving yards. He was dog shit all year. I'm just telling you, like, this man, like, I did not have him on my fantasy pools, just because it was just too rich for the first round for me. When I'm looking out, running backs are good wide receivers, but a lot of people got him and picked him up, and he just sank like a rock for the whole year in fantasy. And I mean, he didn't really do much for the team, I would say, for the whole year, but man, he's been on fire for the playoffs. On fire.
Big time player, man. He's a big time player. He's a Hall of Famer. He'll go down as, there'll be plenty of people that, have him as the best to ever play the game. I mean, I don't really know that he fits all the criteria of your tight ends of old, maybe nowadays as they consider tight ends. But, I like my tight end to be a little more George Kittle. But I mean, you tell me Travis Kelce's going to be on my team for 10, 12, 15 years. I mean, I'm taking that all day. And especially in the playoffs, I mean, him and Mahomes, they're just racking up record after record. And they're breaking, like, historic duos records. Brady, Gronk, like those guys.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They must be playing backyard catch all the time because, like, they're just the best of buds throwing the ball around, out there. It's just, it looks good. And it's nice to see because, like, that's what got Casey back in this. Like the last game when he was making the catches and making the yards and making the TDs and, leading up into that, that just made all of a sudden Casey just look like, hey, we're contenders for this. Hey, we're going to be good for this. Right. So, because they don't have, I'm going to be honest, they don't have a lot in the way of receivers. I mean, they have the new rookie, but I mean, other than that, and he only came alive, the last little half of the season or so. Right. So
that's Rice.
Yeah, Rice. Yeah, Rasheed.
Yeah. So, I mean, let me ask you this. End of the game, I tell you Travis Kelce's stat line is 4 catches for 37 yards. How confident are you that Kansas City won that game? If I don't tell you the final score, that's just the only stat I give you.
Yeah,
I'm putting it
it's
like
hard to say if
5%.
If Rasheed is kept, he's in there making up that way. But I think it's Mahomes and Kelsey. Rasheed, I think he's going to be there. He's going to be in the play. I'm sure. It'll be nice if he makes maybe a TD, a little tutty down here and there, makes some yardage. But yeah, you know what? I mean, it's a Mahomes and Kelsey show, right? So
yeah.
If they're not playing, San Francisco has the depth. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be, a Purdy Kittle show, right? Or a Purdy CMC show, right? Like, I mean, they have some depth, they have some players to go to, right? So, I don't know. Like, if Kelsey's not in it, like, I just don't know if it's going to be, a Mahomes and a receiver, right? So,
yeah. And don't get me wrong. I don't think it's going to be Patrick Mahomes throws for 400 yards and Travis Kelce gets 220 and 3 touchdowns. But I mean, they're going to need to deliver the lion's share of the offense. They're going to need key contributions from guys like Rice is going to need to chip in 60, 70, 80 yards. Hardman's going to need to – is Hardman playing? He's going to have to make a play. You know, MVS came up with that big conversion at the end of the game. Like, they're going to need timely plays from those guys, but Kelsey is going to have to – he's going to have to carry it for the guys. He's just it's going to have to.
MVS, he's good. He's good for a catch here and there, but I mean, that's not winning you the Super Bowl, you know, like that may get you, you know, the 60-yard catch down close to the goal line or something like that, but, or maybe a trick play here and there, but I mean, that's not winning for you. You know, it's that constantly catching the ball, making those first downs, you know, getting in the end zone, Kelsey, right? So,
yeah, exactly.
Not that I want to hype up Kelsey, but I mean, you know, it's Mahomes and Kelsey, right? So I think that's what we're looking at. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what it's been all playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. That's what exactly been all playoffs, and that's where they've been winning their games and been looking good. So then on FanDuel, we had a couple of other things we were talking about these earlier. So we threw in a parlay, a big risk, big gain, and then a novelty bet, right? So the parlay was, you know, take your pick, KC or San Fran, plus, you know, anytime TD from CMC, from Kelsey, and from Pacheco, plus 835, right? So, you know, we like obviously Casey for the money line. So I, you know, definitely threw that in there. So, and then, you know, I'm thinking CMC is good for the TD. I mean, he's at least one for sure.
I mean, what he can't be, he's got to be worse than even money for a touchdown in this game, which is crazy.
Well, that's what I think. I think when you link it together with
what's he like minus 150 for a touchdown or something? I don't know. But
you can't pick it alone. Like it's something you throw in for the parlay, and you know that way you know
a little extra juice,
automatic, right? So
a little extra juice for the fellas.
Yeah. And then Kelsey, I mean, you know, he should get one. I mean, if he doesn't, you know, then the KC money line's gone because that's probably
right? So, yeah, exactly. We're just all in. We're all in.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you know what? I mean, I can't just say like, you know, like that because we're looking at the running back and I just seen his name here, you know, that I put him in for the TD for Pacheco. But I mean, yes, exactly. Like, I mean, it's not just a Kelsey show too. I mean, if Pacheco has his legs running and they get down there, I mean, you know, he's going to get some TDs. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a good hard runner, man. For not a huge back, like he runs violent. You love to see it.
And he's been great this year for fantasy, anyways. Like he's been great. Like for what you would have picked him up. I don't even know what round I can't even remember what round he went, but I know he went in the later rounds. And I mean, he's been fire all year. If you picked him up, you know, for the late rounds, he'd have been great. So
yeah, no, definitely.
And then we have then we have the big risk, big gain, which was, I know you like this, the exact score. Man, I'm just feeling this for some reason. So KC 31, San Fran 21, right? So
I love those.
31-21, you know, that's paying big dollars, you know. I think it was, we threw a $10 bet on and you get the $1,500 or something like that, I think. So, yeah, so that would be nice to hit. It's funny. It's funny where this came from is I was just, you know, flipping through our Instagram posts and, you know, and stuff like that. And, you know, just flipping through all this stuff and some Instagram came up and I was watching some posts somebody else had posted for some visitors that were on a different team and they were going through and this guy was picking up scores and stuff like this. And he had said KC 31-21. Or no, it was a different team that he was picking for the final thing. But the player, I can't remember who it was, has gone now to San Fran. I mean, so it gone to KC. And so now the team is switched up. So this psychic is supposed to be saying that this score is 31-21. I thought, that's just feeling right. I'm just going to put this down. What the hell? You know, can't lose anything.
Hey, wherever the inspiration comes from, as long as it pads your wallet, who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly. So I've been just preaching it out there. I've just been preaching it. KC 31, San Fran 21, you know, NFL rigged games. I got it down.
Speak it into existence, man.
Yeah. And then
that would be a banging one to hit.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, then people would be like, "How did you know? How did you know?" Like, it's all rigged, So yeah,
you got to follow what's cooking on the gridiron, boys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then the last thing we had that was FanDuel had put out there was the novelty bet parlay on that. So they had money line was parlaying either KC or San Fran. And I picked KC, obviously going with, we're just going KC all the way for the money line. And that total points over under, we picked over. The coin toss. Now, I picked heads, but Shane, he's always like tails. It's always damn tails.
Tails never fail, and it rhymes. Tails never
I know.
fails.
That's what he kept preaching that to me. He was like, tails never fails. That's got to be the one, right? And I was like, oh, damn, I picked heads. So hopefully we'll know right away if we get this. When they flip that coin, if we lose, man, we're out of that novelty bet right away. We don't have to worry about anything else. So
yeah, beautiful. That's all right. You know what?
Yeah.
It's 50-50 at the end of the day, but I mean, it doesn't rhyme.
Yeah, I know exactly. And then they had the next one was on there was Usher's outfits change at the halftime show over and under 1.5.
Didn't even know he was doing the halftime.
I figured we're taking the overs on everything, so we'll just
might as well keep the theme going. I didn't even know he was doing the halftime show.
Yeah, and apparently I've been listening for some things, and they were saying that I can't remember how long normally a guest gets for the halftime show, but this is a big exception this year. They've given him an extra 2 or 3 minutes, so maybe he'll get that extra clothing change in. Then that'll be good.
Oh, I think that's a lock, man.
Yeah. Just as long as we don't blow it on that coin toss of heads. So you'll hear me screaming when they flip it and it's tails, and I was like, "Fuck!" and then the last one was the Gatorade. The last one was the Gatorade color we had to pick, and man, we were just going. Me and Shane and Marty were just going back and forth. Oh, what color should we pick for the Gatorade? And I got orange. I picked orange. I went with orange. Yeah. And they were like, oh, it might be red because, both the teams are red. And I'm like, nah, they're not going to pick red. Like, I don't know.
It's always white. It's always white.
Yeah. I don't know. So pick the orange for that one. So might come down right down to the end. We'll have them all. And then, KC will win, money line locked in, and then we'll see them dump white. We're
going to start off hot. We're going to bang off a heads coin toss right off the rip, and then we're just going to start knocking them off throughout the game. It's going to be electric.
Yeah. Well, it should be a great Super Bowl. Thanks for joining us, and we'll have you back on, for our next ones and run down the other ones. But everybody, check out all our. You can follow us down on the bottom there. What's cooking on the gridiron on all the social medias, and check out our YouTube channel, and check out, we post against the spread with myself and Craig every week while the games are running anyways. This is the last one until the new season starts up, but thanks for joining us, and thanks everybody.
Hell yeah.
Well, welcome back to our outdoor kitchen here at What's Cooking on the Gridiron. Today we will be cooking up some Super Bowl specials today. My favorite is the smash burgers on the griddle. We're going to be doing that with a little flair. We're going to kick it up Kansas City style and adding a little bit of Kansas City barbecue sauce. And just to celebrate the San Francisco 49ers fans, we're going to cook it up and then place it on a nice sourdough bun. San Francisco is known for their sourdough bread. Fond memories of being down there by the wharf and having that big, huge, nice bowl of stuffed full of clam chowder and seafood chowder that they make down there. Great selection. So let's just take a look at the ingredients before we start. So first off, for our ingredients, we have our beautiful beef burgers here. You can see that we use a 1/3 cup to measure it out, just so that the burgers are all kind of evenly, the same size and they cook up right. And we'll go over how to mix them up. We got our nice bacon, our great Kansas City barbecue sauce, a little bit of spice, organic herb sea salt, some onions that we're going to cook up and place on it, and then avocado oil. You can pretty much use any kind of condiments you want. My favorite is the garlic mayonnaise, a little bit of ketchup, We have some lettuce, some nice slicely garlic pickles, some nice tomatoes, cheese, and then my wife's homemade sourdough buns. So let's get started cooking this up on the griddle. And so we're back here now, and we're going to just cook up these buns on the griddle here. I usually like to do this first off, right off the bat. That way my griddle's nice and clean. I haven't got the grease from, the bacon or anything like that on there. So what's nice about the sourdough buns is you can press down on them and you're not going to squash your buns because they're nice and crispy. So a little tribute to San Fran, 49er fans out there. Those are browning nicely. All I placed on them was a little bit of garlic butter, a little butter mixed in with a little bit of chopped up garlic, very lightly, just to have it a little bit of a flavor. Should be good for the buns here. Well, they're nice and browned. So we'll just take those off, put them aside. I will throw on some of the onions here. The oil's the most important part. I mean, some people like to use other oils in that, but my personal favorite is the avocado oil. Like I said, cooks up nicely. It has a high heat temperature, so you don't get any burning and stuff like that. So let's just get these fried up here, and then we'll throw on some bacon. For something like bacon, you don't need any oil, the fat and the grease, and that's everything that's already incorporated into that cooks up nicely. Now, some people may say, what temperature are you cooking this at? Usually the recommended temperature is medium-high. It just depends on, what you're cooking. But I do like to cook everything on high or slightly lower from there. Now, if anybody's not accustomed to the griddle, you can't. It's not really something like the barbecue where you can just put it on and walk away. The griddle is a very fast cooker, so it's not like you can just put something on, walk away. Go watch some of the game, come back, check on it. You got to stand over this. But the good part of that is, when you're cooking it, it's done quick and easy. And you can cook up your onions however you like them. Some people like them a little charred like I do. Some people like them just lightly cooked, lightly sauteed. Let's flip this bacon. Same with your bacon. My family loves crispy bacon. Well, those onions look good enough for us. Let's gather those up, put them aside. Bacon looks like it's pretty good, nice and crispy. So we'll take those off and get ready to cook up the burgers. Just get rid of some of the bacon fat and grease here. There's nothing on your burger. And then we'll go and show you how to make the burgers. Okay, my griddle, or my gridiron as we call it, is all ready to go. As I'd mentioned, we use a third of a cup of burgers, of the ground beef. I just scoop it out, approximately. I don't push it down. Make sure it's exactly 1/3. This is about what you need here. So the important part of this is the mixing. So you have to make sure your burger is well mixed, well integrated. All the beef is integrated, because you got to remember smash burgers, they are going to be very thin when you cook them up. And if all the beef is not integrated together and squashed together here like this, then it's going to fall apart. You can put some seasonings in if you want. Smash burgers are just great plain with a little bit of salt and pepper on the top when you're cooking them up. So we'll just get this aside, wash up my hands, and then we'll throw them on. Okay, if you're new to smash burgers, I would start off small and only maybe do about 4 at a time. or maybe 2 at a time, and then go from there because they cook very fast. Okay, so no panic or anything like that, but they do cook very fastly. As you can see, we have a parchment paper here. You need some of that to put that between that and whatever tool you're going to use to smash the burgers down. That way it lifts off nice and clean. I like a nice large piece like this, just so that you have something to grab. So we'll mix these up and we'll go from here. So I like to give them a few seconds just once I put them on there. Grab my parchment paper, grab my nice, burger smasher from Blackstone. Works out really nice. It's got a nice handle on it. It's got a good bash which you can do 2 at a time. I just do 1. So let's get these going here. So just a nice rocking motion. Parchment paper is really easy. You can kind of see through it. You can kind of see how thin you're going to go. All right, smashing is all done. Let's just get rid of this. Next thing I like to throw on here is the Herbamore. It's a nice little spicy organic herb sea salt. And then we'll throw a little bit of pepper on. As you can see, they're cooking around the edges pretty quickly there. They're pretty much ready to flip. We're going to throw a little bit of the Kansas City barbecue sauce on. And then you need a nice little griddle flipper that fits by there. That way you want to scrape your burgers off. Flip them over. You want to make sure you get all that nice browned cooked stuff on the bottom. There we go. And now we'll grab some cheese. Now I'm just making 2 burgers here. Always make a double patty. So we're going to throw the one cheese on there. Let it sit there for a bit while this is cooking. Now I like to throw my bacon on now for a couple of reasons. Bacon always falls off my damn burger, especially if it's crispy bacon. And we really like the bacon part of it. So if you throw it on the cheese, it'll melt in there. It'll get trapped in between the other burger that we're going to flip on there in a sec. This is a must-have. You have to have something like this, especially if you're cooking in the winter. We're cooking up here in Canada right now, so definitely you need this in the winter if you're cooking outside with your toucan parka and your snow boots on. Just because the cheese will melt. It's warmer today. So we don't really need it, but we'll just throw it on the couple here like this and get that warmed up. Then we're going to grab our other 2 burgers, which should be nicely cooked. You can see how good they are. Throw them on top. Throw it on top. Throw a little bit more cheese on. You can never have too much cheese. The other thing we like to do is on this, I usually like to tuck my onions underneath this layer of cheese. That's something else that tends to fall off. Let's throw that up there just to get the cheese a little bit more melted. Yeah, definitely very handy to have. It's also good for, when you're cooking vegetables on here, on the lower heat on the one side. It's kind of like a steaming thing, the heat's coming up, everything's going like that so nicely. It'll be pretty good now. Nice and melted. Make sure you scrape, get that good stuff off. Get your bun, throw it on there. Let's shut this heat off here. And there you go.
Well, thanks for joining us on our first podcast episode of the year. This is Davis, and I hope everyone enjoyed T's cooking on the actual gridiron. The smash burgers Kansas City style with a little barbecue sauce on a San Fran sourdough bun look delicious. Thanks to C-Rag for joining T live to chat about the QBs and all the key players involved in the Super Bowl. Even though your camera is shit for the video, we need to think about throwing you some cheddar for an upgrade. And T and C-Rag have been running pretty hot on their picks for against the spread. So get those bets in. Well, that is it for this show. Please follow us on our all social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out our Discord channel and join in some group chats. And look for our post-Super Bowl podcast as we review the big game and see what T has to cook up on the gridiron. This is your co-host Davis signing off, and may all your fantasy football dreams come true.